Hey everyone, this is Cindy at I Am the Open Door or an Open Door. According to the computer screen, um, it is March 13th, noon Eastern, and this is the hour that we have labeled Finding Truth Everywhere, where we look or we spend time with a different podcast every week, and then we find the truth and how it affects us and how it touches us. And it seems like we all have different versions of it. So it's Mel said this is her favorite day, and this is absolutely one of my favorite moments in the current life experience. So I have pages of notes, but I actually only have one real pointing. So what I am inspired to do is play a song. It's a different version of one of my favorite songs, and then um, really just share about one specific aspect of her very rich talk. I have other things I could talk on, but somehow I believe that I won't be needed to fill dead air. Let's put it that way. There's so much, and then even I had this consideration that I mentioned it to Amy when we were talking yesterday. What I'd like to do is play just the piece of the podcast where she invites you to have this practice of asking your higher self if about love, that whole thing, and we'll play that, and then we'll open it up. That's Who knows what's going to happen, but that's the current intention. Yeah. So the song is Bob Marley's Why Worry, but it's playing for change. So it's Barbie, you're on. I'm going to hit the pause button and I'll see you on the other side. See, Barbie, thank you. Everything's going to be all right if it's, and everything's going to be all right in the end. If it's not all right, it's not the end. That's what we've been saying a lot lately, right? So I saw Kendall's message and I was just smiling because it's just the one thing I wanted to bring and put in a package is this idea of an open system. Um, and there are two other teachers, that when I was sitting with it, um, the first is I heard Rupert Spira talk about this open field, and there's just all this beautiful air in the open field, right? And then people put tents up and they're going to live in the tents in the open field. The air in the tents is still just the air that's in the open field. Yeah, you can see that, right? And he was referring to what consciousness is. And then Michael Singer in The Untethered Soul. Has anyone here not read The Untethered Soul? All right, so there is there's a visual in The Untethered Soul where you're traveling and you come to this gorgeous field and you decide you want to live in this beautiful field and smell the flowers and feel the sun forever and ever. And then somehow you decide, well, if I'm going to live here, I'm going to build a house. And at first, you build the big house and you have the big open windows, and you're still connecting to the field outside. But then somehow you decide to put glass in the windows and then shades on the windows so you can close them if you want to take a nap. And then you have the self-powering electricity so that you don't need to raise the shades and you could use the light from the electricity. And then somehow the electricity goes off and all you have are a handful of candles. And he was talking about how this is just my interpretation of this, the way it is, how we are this consciousness, but through our conditioning or all this other stuff, we keep boxing ourselves into this construct and we forget who we are. This being, this point of consciousness that's in this house, lit up only by candles, has forgotten. about the field that the house is in until it reverses and undoes. And she was looking at the body, and I have Mel here and I have Amy here, so the science of it, and I know I have a science degree. William has a lot of technical stuff, but somehow I just don't hold it in the same way as I used to. And she was using words that were way too many syllables for my little tired mind these days, so I didn't hold on to it. I just know that she said that there's this, there's the 20th century, or the older science that says we are the egotistical, like the body is the center of the universe. And so our thoughts are somehow coming from this system and blah, 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 and then connect outwards. But she was stating that there's more and more scientific evidence that we are this open system, right? So we're this open system, and the divine essence or consciousness flows through this open system, and then whatever is conditioned here that closes it, it hits our conditioning or our structure or our beliefs and creates the experience. But we can choose to be in this space of opening that system again. And she was really talking about this egotistical need to control versus living in the grand spiritual um, adventure of being here now. Extraordinary, right? But it begins with, how about assuming that God just is, or the transcendent, or Brahman, or supreme consciousness, whatever you want to call the ground of the being. And then we, as whatever I am, this body, mind system is an open system that can stay open to that and be informed by that and be guided by that. And also be in, she used the word communication with that. So we don't stop being me, whatever this is. And every day I know less about whatever Cindy is in relationship to that. I'm fine with that, because what I thought I was is being undone, and the higher level, I just don't know what it is, but I'm fine. But whatever Cindy is can now be in communication with um, whatever is flowing through her, and something else happens. And from that standpoint, it was so interesting, because even in the beginning of the hour, she said, you can invite the divine into every conversation. And then she looked at Andre and said, shall we do that? And he went on to ask another question. So right now, if you'd like to join me in just inviting the divine or infinite consciousness or whatever you want to call it into this experience. That's it. It's just inviting the divine in, or Supreme Brahman, or something that is beyond the known, into, and allow it to inform this. So that was the first thing. And then about 40 minutes in, she Andre did give her the yes to stepping through this interesting experience that I have queued up for us to play. I think it's about, I don't know, less than 5 minutes. And everybody just want to do that together and then open it up? Or does anybody want to say anything first? Ah, William, one of us is going to post the podcast for you, but her name is Dr. Lisa Miller, and she is a scientist at Columbia. Though she's doing all this beautiful work with MRIs and EKGs that, you know, seem to point to the fact that there is only one mind, which is kind of cool. Here we go. I'm gonna try to get away with not putting this part on pause. Let's see how this goes. Go in and edit it if YouTube cuts me off because of it.
Shall we share it?
Yeah.
Are you open to
Yeah,
that?
I am totally.
Okay. This is a practice that was shared with me. So I share it forward. I always thank the teacher from the late Dr. Gary Weaver. May we practice?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to invite you, if you'd like, to close your eyes and clear out your inner space. A few in 5 breaths. I invite you in your inner chamber to set before you a table. This is your table. And to your table, you may invite anyone, living or deceased, who truly has your best interest in mind. Anyone living or deceased who truly has your best interest in mind. And with them all sitting there, ask them if they love you. And now you may invite your higher self, the part of you that's so much more than anything that you may have done or not done, anything you may have or not have, your true, eternal, higher self. And ask you if you love you. Ask you if you love you. And now finally, you may invite your higher power, God, Spirit, whatever word is yours, however you know your higher power, and ask if they love you. Ask if they love you. Now, with all of these people sitting here right now, what do they need to tell you now? What do they need to share? What do they need to let you know? And when you're ready, I invite you back.
And with that, I open the conversation. Anybody want to talk about that or any other part of this podcast? Please, Livy.
You know, it was interesting because I turned it on and listened to it a couple of times while I was kind of doing some other things. And then when I sat down with it with my an open door journal and sat down and listened to it, it was like I totally understood and connected with everything that she was saying. And I just wanted to share an experience that I had. So, you know, with the interconnectedness, and I know y'all will get what I'm about to share. So at about 5 this morning, I went to bed last night and I was thinking, you know, I have 2 cats, Susie and Angus, who are my family. And I was thinking they haven't slept with me in a while. And Susie especially hasn't slept with me in a while. And at about 5 this morning, I feel these 2 paws on me. And we just curled and cuddled and spooned and just loved on each other. And she's not usually one that will give kisses. And she just started kissing my face and kissing my hand. And I just found that so affirming that it was the oneness loving on the oneness that she mentioned in her video. And that I had the thought, that I missed sleeping with them, especially her. And it was like the oneness said, okay, let me come in there and we'll cuddle. And it was just this really beautiful, beautiful affirmation of everything that I had been listening to before I went to bed. And so I really just wanted to share that just beautiful experience. And to me, it was the oneness loving on the oneness. And so just wanted to share that with y'all. It was, yeah, it was so beautiful. It just really, really was.
Thank you. Michelle.
Good morning, everybody. Um, I was so moved by the meditation, or the connecting movement that she provided Andre and the rest of us, and that you just did again. I was so moved to tears actually yesterday and today. Both times it's one. I mean, I was really very, very struck because guided meditations in general, I kind of go off into the wilderness in my own little way, and it doesn't feel very soothing. But that felt so just like a massage, and so profound. And then both times before the end, I reversed it because there are some family members. Then I know this is a little bit getting into the mind, but it was so touching to me. I reversed it because I have some family members who I don't feel are able to tap into the love that they are. And so I got even more emotional reversing it and being on the other side, and that person, like my brother Dave or my son George, who just don't seem to feel the deep love that they are, and that we feel for them. So when I did that, it was like a prayer, and it was so touching to me, because I thought, if it's such a short exercise in meditation, I thought, I'm going to keep doing this. And perhaps they will, I mean, I do feel that they will come to the point in their journeys, their life journeys, where they will remember who they are more often. But it was just fun to do that, to reverse it like that, to feel it, and then to feel like I was giving it, but I was receiving it at the same time, because we're all one. Anyway, thank you for listening.
So quick question, when you did that, did you also invite in their higher self and whatever you call the divine?
I did not. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So that's that's a great question. And it didn't feel, see, and I, and I felt it. So it was just so enormous.
Yeah, it could have
But
already been part of what you were experiencing. I was just curious.
maybe so. And I just wasn't able to wrap my heart around it. It's great. Thank you. That's a great question. It'll take me
Thank
to a whole
you.
other the next time I do it.
It's a beautiful invitation. Rana.
Hey, everyone. Just want to take a moment to shine a light on the thinking mind. And it happened both times when I was listening to the video and when we just did the meditation together. As soon as the questions asked, who's going to be at the table? Who has your best interest? Number one, there's my dad sitting at the table. And then with the next successive thoughts about others, there was an evaluation. as to whether, is it true that they have my best interest in mind? You know, and it was very interesting to watch all that. In letting that go, there was someone the first time that I didn't sit at the table, but she was there at the second time. So I think that that practice could be fruitful, you know, in any now moment. And I found that very interesting. But once seated at that table, could really feel that there is no question of the love and the idea that all is well, keep going, you're on the path, right? It's not about like, does such and such and happen next Tuesday, right? It's got nothing to do with the world. It's you're on the path. And there's just a security about that. It's like, yeah, all right, that's good enough, man. That's good. That's what I'm trying to desire here. So thank you.
Hey, Amy.
Good morning, all, and thank you, Cindy, for taking the charge on the Paul Selig thing. I look forward to doing it with Dave, especially. And he missed that. Anyway, that exercise I loved because what it did for me was it really pulled me into somebody else go, my phone is ringing. I'll come back. I'll come.
Two of the people that sat at my table when it were the two people in my life that had the strongest connection with God, which was interesting. My grandma Eva and my uncle Sid, they both were not, they were both religious, but it was more about their unconditional love for the people around them because of their connection to the divine. All right, Amy, are you back
Yeah, I'm
before I
back.
hand things over to Livy?
No, I'm here. Thank you very much. So what it brought up for me was all these people are me, and how it transcended for me this sort of self-imposed barrier of not really being able to love myself fully. It was almost like I love myself the way God loves me. So it pulled me, it gave me permission in a way to do that. And like Rana, I had first I called my mom at the first sitting, and then my dad came in, but I didn't really want to call my dad in because I didn't feel that he truly loved me in this life or in his life. But then I thought, well, could I call him in as he is healed? Can I see him fully healed and fully capable of the love for me that I know I deserve and that now I think he could see? And I was able to do that the second time around. And it felt really good to do that. It reminded me a little bit of a Course in Miracles exercise where you put the Holy Spirit in front of the person that, you don't get along with. And then the Holy Spirit almost serves like the rose. It translates what needs to be translated and raises it to its highest vibration. And what that exercise in essence did for me was it showed me the depth of my own self-love, because I called in my higher self. I called in the people that love me, and I called in Source, God, whatever. And it's how much self-love can I hold to come in and have them sit at the table. And I really loved that. The other thing I really liked, I took a lot of notes, but so amazing to me that kids who communicate with or who come into a community with a shared spiritual life, 4/5 of them it drops the suicide rate by something like 95%. And the disease of despair, I loved that term, the disease of despair. I don't love it, but I like the fact that it's named, you know? It's named. And her comment that her observation that spirituality is inborn in the brain just reminds me so much of A Course in Miracles that says, you know, that Source placed the Holy Spirit in us, and that's what we are. It's in us. It's just science coming to meet spirituality in a beautiful way. And I thought she did a really good job of asking questions from a different perspective. She really transcended the linear rational mind, but still was able to come around and ask really intelligent questions that addressed linear thinking. She was very gifted at being able to do that. So, yeah, the awakened mind has an innate capacity to let go and allow the universe to reveal itself via dreams, gut instincts, synchronicity, inborn intuition. And she said, that's your sure footing. That's your sure footing. I loved that. And I loved that she said children have, and I thought about Sandra with this, children have this innate capacity. And when we're with our children, our grandchildren, they awaken the innate capacity in us that's been buried. And I thought that was really, really beautiful because of mirror neurons. And mirror neurons are like spooky action at a distance, right? That's exactly what it is, right? The whole thing of the shaman or the medicine, the healer in the MRI with, you know, thinking and having the MRIs mirror each other, it's spooky action at a distance. That's exactly what it is. Faster than the speed of light. You know. Anyway, I thought it was great. Thank you.
She say this disease of despair is healed by the Sangha. And there was a chill that came through me because that's what we are.
Exactly.
She said that the disease of despair, and she said Gen Z is dying faster of suicide than anything else. Um, it's the Sangha, and that's shared spirituality, and that's what we are. That's the ground upon which an open door is came to be. It's non-religious, connected spirituality where we do not have a human guru. That's a big part of what we are here. There's what's very much on my heart is that no human, whether it's an outside teacher, by the way, I'm not even talking about me or Amy or anyone in, but also that we don't put Helen Hamilton on a pedestal or Rupert on a pedestal or Mooji on a pedestal. There is this divine innate consciousness that we are all one with, and that is what we connect through here in an open door. So
A warm bath, Cindy.
the warm bath.
So beautiful what you just said. It's just, and it's grace. It's grace. It's thank you.
Thank you. The warm bath. I just read the page about the warm bath and resurrection, by the way. I don't know if you remember that there was this whole thing about, but all right, Livy. I know you're not surprised.
Yeah, I thought about Sandra too. I thought about her too when it came to that part and just sent her a lot of love. And I just wanted to share that when I did that exercise, Boo is always the first one that appears in any situation like that. And for those that don't know, Boo was a half Great Dane, half Lab that was my soulmate in this lifetime. I've never felt that loved or that protected as I did by him. And I too questioned my dad And I too did the healing of his, he's not who he was in the bodysuit, and that happened to me as well. And then I had highlighted opening myself to God's guidance is the most sure footing I could be on. We are one, loved, two, guided, three, part of the one. God sends us to work for and with each other. And I just love that we sit here, most every day and we are working for and with each other. And I just absolutely love that. And I had my phone and I was like, definition of reductionist, definition of myopic, definition of mirror neurons. I was just looking everything up, but yeah. And then it was something I didn't think initially the first listening, especially, I was like, this is going to be way over my head. And the second listening, and then when I sat down with it last night, it was completely made sense. I so resonated with it. And so, yeah, now I'm going to hush and let everybody else talk.
Well, one of the things that you pointed to just now, and I'm just going to say it out loud because I am, is that she was talking about the hard data of synchronicity. And I just wanted to land that here. This idea that synchronicity is woo woo and belongs to just no. She was really just saying it's sort of like the miracle principles, right? Miracles, everybody's right. Purification is required first, right? This idea that synchronicity how could it not be part of our experience if there's only one mind and there's only that one consciousness moving through all of us? So you pointed to that, Livy, and I just wanted to say it out loud as I hand things over to Barbie.
It was way too wordy for me. I'm not a scientist, whatever. But the only question I got a lot out of it. The one question is, what's Schumann's resonance?
I used to do a lot of work selling back in the day when I was doing personal development online and selling these audios. We did a lot with Schumann resonance. There is a heartbeat to the earth. I'll put it that way. There is a frequency in the earth's core, and you can hear the same. I think it's 400. I don't remember, like 412 hertz or something. There's like the earth's heartbeat is what we would call it, and they call it the Schumann resonance. And there was a lot of work done that said if you can attune to the Schumann resonance, your system will calm down and become more connected to the earth's frequency.
Thank you.
William.
Well, what I got is I just brought so many around the table. But I could feel only so much of it. And certainly my oldest son, we were at one. So much. I let him in. I was him. He was me. But what I began to see is that all my life, I've been the baby, my sister, so loving, my parents so loving. I was number 3. I had 2 older sisters. I hid out. I've been hiding all my life. I remember I was my 70s, 80s? No, yeah. And my sister Sarah kept calling me her baby brother. And I just didn't like that. And I very lovingly, she's the most loving person and just so much love envelope embracing me as her baby brother. It loved introducing me to people. What I saw, what I see, what I know is the image, the baby brother the little guy never, it's like and when you played that song, Bob Marley, all the freedom, I, that wasn't me. All those freedoms. My goodness. Anyway, what I'm excited about, there's been this excitement in me all along, but I had to contain it as this image, this image, this image. And yet I was my father with I was this baby brother and my father. And I tell you, it's like that's been my role in life, to be these images of these people that love me so much, or else suppress. They didn't suppress me, but boy, I suppressed myself. So what I see, even when I'm listening here to people, at times I don't listen because I want to find it myself. That little baby, don't tell me, don't tell me. I'll find. It's like there's a knowing. There's a knowing. It's almost like I'm yet to be born. I want to born myself. I want that experience. I don't want. It's like I'm not ready. Yes, I'm already. It's I know I'm there. And then when I heard no cause, no effect. See, for me, somehow the moment, I just go into that moment so often that nothing else is, it's just this moment, this moment. I'm safe. There's nothing else. I don't exist. Nothing, it's the moment. So what I'm trying to say here is I'm so embarrassed at being the baby brother. I'm so embarrassed that I've been hiding all my life. And yet I love all these little images. They're so, I just love it. It's like, don't want to give up these images, these separate images. And yet I know there's something so much more. So I'm ready to be born. But I'll do it my own way. And even see that it's letting go of something. I don't need the help. I'm there. So I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay.
One of the things that came up while I was listening to you, William, um, and Amy, again in the conversation, we didn't talk that long yesterday, but it was very rich. This idea of wormholes. She also brought this idea of wormholes up. And that really came through for me, William, is in this collective consciousness that we're all sitting in, linear time isn't. So she was really talking about how in this moment now we could redo the past, and we can redo the future, and we can be in our past lives and allow them to fully be here and then re-know them. And it really, all of that came alive for me while you were sharing, William, this idea that the past doesn't keep us imprisoned in this space at all. Yeah. Well, David, and then you, Patricia, does that work? Yeah. Okay. All yours, Mr. Bernard.
Okay, well, the first thing, when I started listening to the video, I think I started it early this morning. And the first thing that struck me was that she's using too darn many 6-syllable words for me to be comfortable. And I said, why can't she talk like Michael Singer or Byron Katie or Pema Chodron? Because, and so then I started out like that. Oh, well, this doesn't work for me. This is, and so then I realized, when I got into it, that after she did her initial part, she got so I could understand her, but more easily. But then it seemed to me like this was just it's like a metaphor of what's been going on with me, And the thing about having people come around to the table that have my best interest, it was almost like I might get them at the table and then not show up. It's almost like that would be the way I do things. And I've been spending all this time in going to all these classes for years, and being a student of the Course in Miracles, and I'm acting like I have my stuff together, but I don't. And I'm pretending that I do, and I'm saying a lot of stuff, and I'm carrying on and acting crazy. But it's a facade. It's almost like I'm putting up hotels on the Monopoly game that aren't real. And it is almost like, Jesus. I mean, is this, here I am, I've spent all this time, but I've been spending all this time, like I said, putting hotels on the Monopoly game. I've been spending all this time faking it and pretending and trying to navigate around the reality that I need to face and be. And it's like, God, what have I been doing? Wasted all this time doing that. And so this video and this, pointed that out to me. And then I'm listening to folks talk about what they got out of this, and it was really good. And I'm saying, well, I didn't get diddly out of this. And I resent the fact that you got it and I didn't get it. And it's like, poor me, right? Got a good opportunity to eat worms. And so this is a really great lesson for me to understand what the hell's going on in my life and what needs to be going in my life, or what is mine to do. And so sometimes the lessons aren't as much fun as you'd like them to be, but that's the way it is with lessons. And so here I am learning again. That's what I'm here for. Sometimes it sucks, but it's a lesson I need to learn. So thank you for listening.
Well, and thank you for sharing. And I'm sitting in this space again, just in awe of the space that we've created and the ability for all of us to speak whatever's going on in a way that no one says we're wrong for doing it. So every time you say, fuck, this doesn't feel good right now, there's something in my heart that just goes, wow. Because so much of this work is about not hiding. It was Helen, right? Who said, do you want to be free, or do you want to be a good spiritual student? Because they're not the same thing. And being able to say, this sucks, and I don't like it, and I ain't getting it, but I'm going to keep showing up anyway. It's extraordinary. So thank you, David. And Amy, we're going to let Patricia go, but I understand now why you want to do the guides with David so badly. Yeah. Hey, Patricia.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, my Sangha. I guess you're my tribe. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm in my studio and I put things on the wall, and I'd like to read you a couple if that's all right. I'm going to do it anyway, whether it's right or not. Never be a prisoner of your past. It was just a lesson, not a life sentence. I like that one a lot. And the other one I wanted to read, the truth you believe and cling to makes you unavailable to hear anything new.
Love it.
Would you read that one again, please?
Sure, my pleasure. The truth you believe and cling to makes you unavailable to hear anything new. So these stare at me. Can I read one more from Rupert? I'm going to read one more from Rupert. And this really has helped me. Happiness is simply to allow everything to be exactly as it is from moment to moment, from this moment to the next moment. And on a personal statement, I mean, these are so helpful, you know, because I deal daily with a very heavy heart. And I'm just learning how to accept it and to surrender it. That's it. I accept it. Do I know what it's about? I don't need to know what it's about. It's here. It's here. It's now. I have a couple of guesses, of course, but it's about releasing it and giving it. I give this to my Holy Spirit. I give it to the universe. I give it to God. I give it to Mother Mary. I give it to them all. That's what I do, and it feels better because I'm back in the moment. This has become more and more important to me, is how to stay in the moment, because I leave all the time. This chattering monkey, that's my friend Pema Chodron's favorite statement. Oh, you're in the chattering moment. Yep. Practice, 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 and then practice some more. And this is, you know, it's the journey that's important. It's, you know, I have to remember that phrase, it's the journey, not the goal. The goal is the journey, not the whatever it is.
Destination.
Not the destination. Yeah. So I'm traveling this journey with some wonderful people, and I'm very grateful. Thank you.
Pat, I gotta say, I just love the way you share your relationship with your chattering mind.
And Amy, are you gonna point to what I think it was you that put in the chat? I don't really have the chat open, so it pops up and down about how this feeling of suffering and failure is the beginning of liberation.
I can. I did really like that she pointed to suffering and depression are the early phase of the awakening process as the vessel keeps getting bigger and bigger, seeking more fulfillment, seeking more fulfillment. And this is something, Cindy, you and I talked about yesterday. I think it was yesterday, where we said when we're out of alignment, it just becomes
Excruciating.
excruciating. It's really painful now to be out of alignment, and things that, like David just said, you know, maybe before, 6 months ago or a year ago, if David hadn't gotten the video, if it just hadn't appealed to him, he just would have blown it off. But he couldn't ignore it, and so the Sangha is a place to come and share all this. And what William shared, I never would have known that. I just learned something through William's share that hadn't been in my memory bank. It hadn't been in my knowledge bank, my awareness bank. And I really appreciated your sharing, William, because I didn't have a concept of how a baby brother could be so sick of having that role, especially in this society where you're supposed to be the man. I don't look at you as anybody's baby brother. I look at you as the wise white-haired psychotherapist. I don't see you as anybody's friggin' baby brother. But when you shared that, and that was really important. So anyway, I just the suffering and then the bringing it to this safe space is part of the awakening process in the Sangha. And it just I like the way she said, neurologically, this creates these pathways that allow us to awaken even more deeply. That's it. And just thank you, David and William, for sharing.
Thank you, Amy. I just gave you a hug.
Hey, Rod.
Hey, I too wanted to bounce off of William's share. What came to me as you were sharing, aren't we born every moment? It's seemingly like we have these threads of memories that create, but can I meet each moment fresh and new? And as you were sharing the image made, right, in your family dynamic, it occurred to me exactly what Amy just said. I love we have one mind, right? Because I was feeling that same thing. I perceive, William, you as an elder statesman. You're not a baby brother. And don't we all have different perceptions? And wouldn't it be interesting to just do an exercise someday about how we see each other in here, as opposed to the package deal that we've carried through our family life or our professional lives or whatever? I bet we see each other totally differently than we feel we're seen by the world, and that's the beauty of this new relationship in this new Sangha, and Patricia pointed to it, if we cling to nothing, everything will be new, and I can allow for so much more to occur. And I just want to add that one of my favorite memes, David, is a little short one set statement thing. It says, drink coffee and pretend you know what you're doing. And I don't know what I'm doing, right? And the discovery that I think I am this imposter self that's supposed to be doing anything is that climbing up the mountain of truth, And what I would add about Dr. Lisa Miller was what I heard loud and clear was to remember that there are other forms of knowing. And when I think I know and how I need to do, where's the instruction book for the world? I've got it. It's in that other form of knowing, the place that I tap into when I get quiet and step aside from that imposter self. So
I'm
grateful to be here.
I'm going to interrupt before Mel gets in. I've been pretending I know what I'm doing. I've been living the life that I created to survive the world that I think I have to survive, rather than just be like, I don't know a damn thing, and enter the world with that. Because if I don't know a damn thing, I can learn it's all, like you said, it's all new, it's all fresh, it's all things I can learn if I get the heck out of my own way.
Could I just two quick little things? One is I hid behind my PhD in clinical psychology for how many years? The other thing is my older sister, Sarah, we would get tickled uncontrollably and laugh, and we couldn't stop, because that's something about our energy too. Both of us, those silly little kids. And I always, when we were doing the family prayers and my father had to send us out of the room, and then when we come back in, we dad laugh again. So it's like that uncontrollable little kid energy loving. We just had it all our lives. Even when she was 91, we would still giggle and laugh out of control.
There's always time for you, Mel. So hopefully you didn't lower your hand thinking we ran out of time, because that's not the way this works.
I know I can't hide from you, can I? Thank you.
Why would anyone want to hide from me?
Well, everybody said so beautifully. The only little addition, I guess, and I go with David here a little bit on being the outlier here, was with the exercise with bringing people to the table. And then she said, do you love me? Ask them if you love me, right? She said, do you love me? And my immediate response was, I am love. How can I ask anyone to love me? I've never asked anybody, do you love me? Because I am love. And that presents, a separation immediately. So that's what kind of turned me off immediately with that, because I am love. And so is everyone and everything. So that was my only feedback on that.
Well, conceptually, I accept that I am love. Experientially, there are people in my life that I feel have shown me things other than love. And I have felt contraction and anger and upset. So it's that part of me that feels unloved that I brought into that experience. So I know conceptually that all there is love. but experientially there are pockets here that do not feel loved. And that's just my experience. So
Can I just say one more thing? I know it's time for us to go, but it's, I don't want to interrupt Mel. It's to
Oh,
Mel's.
no. Just that there's nobody else can bring you love because you already are that. So if you could say
That's a really great point. For me, though, just offering my own thing is the exercise allowed me to actually feel the love for myself. It allowed me to actually ask myself that question, do you love me? You know, it's one thing to say I am loved, but do you love me? It opens up a little space and then asks my higher self or the one that loves me to step in and affirm that yes. And it's such a beautiful feeling. It was for me, it's such a beautiful feeling rather than sort of intellectualizing it going, well, I am love. That for me is one that actually takes me out of it, but to acknowledge I love myself. I do. It just brings it right into my heart. And that's how it's like, I am good. I am good. I like myself. And if it feels good, it must be good. That's my barometer, right? It must be good. So I just wanted to offer that, but thank you, Mel.
well, I'm going to give you a chance to speak, Patricia, but for anyone that has to take off, because I do feel always am very aware of linear time, and we've been hanging for an hour plus a few. We love us very, very much. And we do reality check tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, whatever time that is for you. And also, I'm just going to say it out loud. There is this arising of us spending more time listening to the guides together. And um, we have taken steps in that direction and more will follow. So I'm going to stop the recording and then whatever you want to say, Patricia, but let me just officially stop.